Here we are at J Software, and I'm going to show you how to download the JHS version 701. This is the link here, and now you can see I've exaggerated the size of the page so you can read it better. We want to go here to the downloads, where I am at the bottom here. And this is the download page. There's information, as you can see, for Linux installs and Mac installs, and up above for Windows installs. There's two major stable releases of J701, which is the one we're going to focus on, and also J602. J602 is recommended for people who are new to J, but both of them are stable. This J701 is a little bit more bleeding edge. Regardless of which one you go to, I suggest that you make a bookmark to this help page, because it will give you lots of information about the runnings of J itself. What I want to do is go down here and download my particular version for my Mac. After the download is concluded, I drag the folder that says J701, this folder right here, into my home directory. And this is a magnified video of what my directory looks like in the Finder. Now I'm going to scroll over a little bit so you can see the contents of this folder J701 that your folder will look like when you do the same thing. Although your folder will include all of this over here on the right, it will not initially include this J701 user directory right under J701, because you have not yet saved a file. I have already done that, and so my computer contains this J701 user. What we're going to focus on today is this JHS version of J, and so I double-click on that icon, and J pushes up a terminal window that contains this information right here, and we want to open a URL with that, so we select that line and say Open URL. I'm going to scroll over here to the left and then adjust this screen so it's easier to read. You can see here that we are in a typical browser. That's the URL that was automatically typed in for us, and we can use this version of J just like we would use any other browser application. I'm increasing the size of the print in a different way. Now I'm going to type in a little test to see if J works. And I type in, give me all the numbers between 0 and 9. That's how you do that in J. About the first thing you'll want to do when you download and open this window is go to something we call Pac-Man here, which is JAL. And I'm going to click that, and at the same time I'm going to hold down the Command key so that we get a whole new window. You can see the new window came up, and I'm going to go to that window, and I'm going to increase the font size so you can read it more easily. Now, this is the Pac-Man where all of the libraries are stored. I'm going to click here on Installed and show you the what I have installed already. These are the files that you'll really want to have installed. Some people would advise you to install all of them, but these are all that you'll need for what we're going to see today. Now, in this output, you can see that for the base library, version 48 is what I have installed, and the most recent version is 48. As a matter of fact, I'm up to date on all of these, but if when you do this, if you see any of the left-hand numbers are lower than the right-hand numbers, then what you would do is click on those, or click on Upgradable here, and then install them. We don't need to do that, but this is necessary the first time you use J. Next, we want to go back to the JIJX window. We could just click on this link here, but I prefer, since we're using a browser anyhow, to click on the tab and go back in that way. Next in J, I want to show you how to use the tutorial labs. Before we do, I'm here in the Finder directory, and you can see that here we are in the J701 folder, and this is the add-ons directory. And now these add-ons include these labs, and these labs this is where the labs that we're going to talk about are stored. Here we are back in the JIJX window, and I want to show you how to actually access a good lab here. Before we go there, notice there's this Advance A. That is one way to advance, is to click on this, but also that whenever you see a letter like that in the menu, that means if you press Escape first and then that letter, that will do the same thing. It's a shortcut. We're going to Labs, and click here to see that there are lots and lots of labs. The one I want to focus on is right up at the top here in the core, A Taste of J. And so I click on Run, and you can see it jumps right up. Pause the video now so that you can read this information. This is the first lesson of the lab. Now I'm going to advance by pressing Escape A. Notice that this lab fits nicely on this one page. And this one fits nicely too. Let's pause and read. As suggested, I'm going to go up here and click on this line, press Return one time to make it show up. I could actually change it here to 40 here. I'm going to add 40, and then press Return again, and I get the result for that. Advance again. Now this one has taken up too much space on the page, so I have to back up a little bit so I can see the top. I'm pausing. Another thing you'll want to study is this JHelp here. Now, I'm going to hold down the Command key as I click it, because then I'll get a new tab. And let's go over and look at it. And I'll increase the size. This has lots of information about the new J. And in particular, you'll want to focus on this. Well, you may want to learn about how to make it into a a server yourself here. But let's go down some. Here it talks about the keyboard shortcuts and moving around in the JIJX window. And here it shows that you can access it with your iPhone, iTouch, or iPad. And also there's other alternatives available. This is a neat one that shows you how to use Google Charts with this J, and so on. Here's a little action window, a demonstration that has been prepared. You'll see the results of this when we look at the action menu. There's a debug system. There's just a wealth of information here that you'll want to look back at. For now, let's return to the JIJX tab. Next, I want to show you how to create a little script file. So I've selected this statement here, a very short statement, and I'm going to copy it. I just go to my Edit, Copy in my browser, and then I go to the link here and select JIJS. But again, I'm going to hold Command down as I click that, so we get a new window. Now notice what has happened here is we've got a brand new window. Let me expand it a little bit. And it is named 2.ijs. It's the second one of these files that I've created. And I'm going to paste in that little bit of code. There it is. And I'm then just, let me do one other thing. Let me define a little function. And then save that. So I go to the action menu and I save. Now let's go back to the JIJX tab and press enter, and it says that JIJX is saved. Now because I saved that file, I can type in RN, and it's not there because I didn't load it. Let's go back and load it. Okay, we're back in the temp2 file, and this time I'm going to run and display. It says it ran without error and it was saved. Now I go back to the JIJX menu. This time when I type in RN, it gives me the whole contents. Once I pressed return, it gives me the I.25 and the random number program that I wrote. Let me show you how the random number program works. It's really simple and dull, but I want 2 rows of 5 numbers, all between 1 and 10. And if I press that, I get an error. What did I do wrong? Bummer. I see what I did wrong. I wrote the program wrong, so let me change it. This symbol is wrong. It should be an @ sign. And now if I run the program, hopefully it'll work. Yes, I got 2 rows of 5 numbers between 0 and 9. Now I'm going to go back to the edit the file, and I'm going to close the window because I want to show you what happens if you don't if you close one of these files and then need to open it again. So here we are back in the JIJX, and I want to go to link, and instead of if I clicked on JIJS again, it would give me a brand new file, a temp3, and I don't want that. I want to go to the existing file. So I click on JFile, and there it is. And the one I want to edit is this 2IJS. So I click on that, and I double click on it, and it brings me right to that file. Now here's the catch, the gotcha. I cannot edit this file right now because there's a protection against editing. So what we have to do is go to this option menu and click on read only, and that way it's editable, and now I can fix the error that I made, change it to an @ and go back to the action and say run. And now that has been corrected, and we can go back to the JIJX window, and all is well with the world. If I execute this line again, I'll get a different set of numbers, but the program is working, as we can see. Another menu that you may be interested in is this action menu with Scratch and Scratch R. If you click Scratch, it creates a very small window at the top of the page that allows you to type in something that you might want to do just real quickly. For example, I could do 25RN30, and then I can, in order to execute that, or so if we could add some more, that's when you type Scratch R. Actually, let me change this. Let me make this R0 equals, because we won't see the results of the other if I don't set it, assign the result to a value. So now action, Scratch R, and now if I type in R0 here, it'll tell me the results of that calculation. So that's another option that you have for accumulating commands that you want to do. Now, in this case, I'm going to click Scratch ... again to get rid of it. Here we are back in my Finder window, and I want to come here just to explore this J701 user with you a little bit, because this is where you'll find your files if you want to edit them outside of J. There, also there's a configuration area here, but this temp directory is where all of your files are naturally saved. So let me show you. There, the temp 1.ij and 2.ijs. You can see the files are named automatically with an extension IJS. This is another one that I've been working on myself. Okay, behind the scenes, I've gone over here to the help window again and copied and pasted this instruction into the JIJX window. I'm going to click back over there, and you can see, let's see, these are the results. Oops, it's not there. It's the examples that you get, and that's because this is in a browser. You can see here's the line I typed in. Okay, that's all the fun we're going to have for now. come back again.